Number 40. Start of the book. By Con Víctor G. Master Gnostic Bodhisattva of Samael on WEOR, the physically resurrected. The Perfect Marriage. Samael on WEOR. 4th edition, enlarged and corrected, Columbia, 1968. Preface. By Julio Medina V. The present moment is of utmost gravity for humanity, and we must speak clearly and forcefully at this time when all religions, sects, schools, lodges, beliefs, orders, clans, political parties, and nations are engaged in a terrible struggle for their own survival. It is the hour of being and non-being in philosophy. This is a decisive moment for humanity, therefore, it is up to us to speak clearly so that we can offer immediate assistance to those who wish to become attendees in the Hall of Divine Wisdom. Hundreds of classroom spiritualists blushed at our combative language used in the first preface of this work, which revolutionized many spiritualist schools, but this was necessary in the beginning to awaken those asleep in all faiths and provide them with much needed help. All those contributors lived paying dues without receiving any benefit, and as long as there are money changers in the temple, there will be indignant reformers. Before the great universal flood, humanity was given an ark of salvation, and very few took advantage of it. This is demonstrated by biblical teaching. Today, as in those times, a new captain has sounded the alarm, the Venerable Master Samael Onweer, who has placed in our hands a new Ark of the Covenant so that we may be saved from the dreadful storm that is approaching. We are already shipwrecked, a plank of salvation has been offered to us, that plank, or Ark of Salvation, is the great Arcanum. Here you have the doctrine of the Savior of the world. Humanity has already known the historical Christ, and now it must know the Christ in substance, who lives and breathes in the very depths of our seminal system. In this work, Master Samael Onweer, Kulki avatar of the new age of Aquarius, teaches us that humanity's redemption lies in sex. He speaks with astonishing clarity about the great mysteries of sex, showing us how this profound wisdom is found in all the sacred books of the world's great religions, albeit in a very veiled form. With the Bible in hand, he demonstrates this magnificent wisdom, showing us how this sacred book, a jewel of occult science, begins in Genesis and ends in Revelation speaking of sex. And today, all those courageous ones who ignored the fear-mongers and patiently set about practicing all the teachings he is giving us, bear witness to the marvelous transformation we have achieved in all fields of human activity and the wonders we have discovered within ourselves, and eager to reciprocate the Master's blessings received through his majestic wisdom, which we have received as a grace, we cannot help him in the gigantic task that now rests on his shoulders, which is to open the age of Aquarius, which will be entirely spiritual. Woman is the Vestal Virgin of the Divine Temple, our priestess wife is the Vestal Virgin of our inner temple, man is a priest officiating in the temple of love. The priestess kindles the sacred fires, these fires are entirely sexual. Our own priestess wife is the same Athener that the alchemist sought so much and then taught with the utmost caution, because humanity was not yet ready to receive such wisdom. With the death of Jesus, the Christ, the veil of the temple was torn. Now, with the coming of the avatar of Aquarius, that veil has been thrown wide open, and present-day humanity will be able to know the profound mysteries of sex. With these forces, one becomes a colossus, and with them, one can awaken the wonders that lie dormant or chained within, in the same way that today materialistic science has awakened the terrible forces of the atom and achieved material progress. It was necessary for humankind to witness all these wonders in order to break all its taboos and become open to new conquests. Marriage was instituted by our Lord Christ. To him belongs the wisdom of love, and until now man has not understood it, he barely knows how to enjoy some of its manifestations. The wisdom of the great Arcanum remained hidden for many centuries, it could not be spoken of with such clarity, but today we reveal it with even greater clarity so that the reader may have no doubt. In the physical realm, the various combinations of matter are called chemistry. In occultism or esotericism, when one substance is transformed into another, it is called transmutation, that is, a change of form, for example, the change that grass undergoes when it passes through a cow's stomach and emerges transformed into milk. That is alchemy. Modern man has precise knowledge of the germinative power of the seed. Publicly he speaks of all seeds except the human seed, because that is the crucial point that cannot be discussed, for it liberates man from slavery, and all masters live off the slave. There are two kinds of doctrines, the doctrine of the eye and the doctrine of the heart. The doctrine of the heart is nourished by love and teaches us the wisdom of transmutation, or scientific chastity. This wisdom of chastity is known in the body of Christian Catholic doctrine as "Thou shalt not commit adultery" and constitutes the sixth commandment of God's law. The doctrine of the eye is nourished by theories and enriches the intellect. One leads us to human wisdom, the other to divine wisdom. One makes us seekers in the hall, the other attendees in the hall of divine wisdom. One body of doctrine animalizes us, the other divinizes us. We speak of sexual power because it truly is a terrible force. The loss of this power in human beings resulted in the loss of moral strength, and when we speak publicly about it, the pontiffs of all faiths and the owners of all the slaves in the world come at us, weapons drawn. But let's speak plainly to sensible people and to the misguided moralists who blush so much when we speak of the majesty of sex. They can no longer hide the truth because, when a cosmic law comes into play, woe to the opponents. For they will be swept away. The humanity of the future must know the divinity of sex, that much no one can prevent. We will show you, dear reader, physically what that sexual force is, to give you encouragement in your intentions to amend your ways. Among poultry, we all know the rooster and the hen. We also know fighting roosters. They are small and lightweight. The fighting rooster requires special training. From a young age, cockfighters attach a string to it and tie it to a stake or post. The purpose of this tethering is to prevent the fighting rooster from mating with females of its own species. Thus, the small chick grows into a rooster. This small animal does not undergo transmutation, but instead, it absorbs its own seed, and with that tremendous force, it becomes a colossus full of energy and courage. When, for any reason, this fighting rooster, which has been forced into chastity, enters a henhouse where there is a rooster that is mating, it will kill it in minutes, even if it weighs 5 times more than itself. The mating rooster will always be filthy, pestilent, and cowardly. All mating animals are foul-smelling, even birds when they are mating, as in the case of the rooster. For this colossus, men build cockfighting arenas or places of struggle. There, those who watch these warriors fight to the death pay dearly. Fighting bulls are separated from the females from a young age. They grow to adulthood without ever touching a female. There, the absorption of their own semen also takes place, because this beast knows nothing of transmutation, a capacity of human beings. Thus, even though it is an entirely animal act, the benefit that the male receives is unparalleled. He is raised with a beautiful appearance, full of ferocity and agility, his coat shines, and his price surpasses that of a market steer. Men build circuses worth millions, and when they fight one of these colossi, people pay whatever is asked to see them die bravely. Race horses are called colts and fillies because they are never bred with mares or stallions. These beasts are also incapable of transmutation and only absorb their own semen, an entirely animal act similar to ejaculation. And yet, the beast becomes more beautiful, its coat shines, its presence is colossal. The great breeders know that the horse loses its seminal fluid during erection, so they place a silver ring on the glans, or head of the penis, to prevent the animal from achieving an erection and, consequently, losing its semen. This is a closely guarded secret among the great breeders. For these colossi, whom they forcefully prevent from losing their semen, men build expensive racetracks where exorbitant sums are charged to watch them, and millions of men around the world follow their favorites and place enormous bets. All of this is the work of that terrible sexual force, which we are determined to prevent the good and meek from losing, those who live shedding tears because they don't know they are gods in potential. If men knew what they would lose when they fornicate, instead of laughing, they would go crying. So the Venerable Master has told us. To understand this, let's look at what happens to any animal. Take the horse we are discussing. When this animal spends just one night in union with a mare, the next day it is unable to work, it is covered in sweat, and it cannot handle a man who weighs 8 times less than it. The horse, as an animal, produces strength, and if it loses its strength with just one night's contact, what will happen to the human being who, wanting to surpass the beast, consorts with it every night? Man produces moral strength, but this strength is also lost through fornication. That is why there is so much moral irresponsibility, and why moralistic gentlemen fornicate in private and write books and new texts without knowing where evil is found. If a single sperm has the power to create a body as perfect as that of a human being, what won't we do with the millions we reserve to give ourselves light and wisdom? Today, millions of men are blindly falling into the abyss, and these blind men guide one another, but always in the direction of the abyss. Good men of all faiths are only good shadows, but shadows nonetheless, because they lack the Christic light that lives and pulsates in the very depths of our own seminal system. That inner light will one day lead us to the beloved Father. Christ our Lord told us, "I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life." No, dear reader, Christic esotericism, cling to this lifeline and do not exchange, like Esau, the rights of progeny for a bowl of lentils, because the end times have arrived and there is no time to lose. With Christ or with Yahweh, with God or with the devil, with the light or with the darkness, with good or with evil, with life or with death, with the inner schools or with the outer ones. With Samael on we or against him. To battle, to battle, to battle. Summum Supremum Sanctuarium. August 7, 1961. Master Gargacoaquines. Julio Medina v. Introduction. I have written this book for the few, I say for the few, because the many neither accept it, nor understand it, nor want it. When the first edition of The Perfect Marriage was published, it generated great enthusiasm among students of all schools, lodges, religions, orders, sects, and esoteric societies. The result of this enthusiasm was the formation of the Gnostic movement. This movement began with a few sympathetic individuals and became entirely international. Many students of occultism studied this book, few understood it. Many, enthralled by the captivating theme of the perfect marriage, joined the ranks of the Gnostic movement. Those who did not leave the Gnostic movement can be counted on one hand. Many swore allegiance before the altar of Gnosis, but in truth, almost all violated their oaths. Some seemed like true apostles, so much so that it seemed sacrilegious to doubt them, but in the long run, we had to accept, with infinite sorrow, that they too were traitors. Many times, it was enough for these false brothers to read a book or listen to a new speaker who had come to town to leave the Gnostic movement. In this battle for the new Aquarian age that begins on February 4, 1962, between 2 and 3 in the afternoon, we had to learn that the abyss is full of sincerely mistaken people and people with very good intentions. The perfect marriage and the cosmic Christ constitute the synthesis of all religions, schools, orders, sects, lodges, yogas, etc., etc., etc. It is truly a pity that so many who found the practical synthesis have strayed from it to fall into the intricate labyrinth of theories. Tradition tells that at the center of the labyrinth existed the synthesis, that is, the temple standard. The word labyrinth comes etymologically from the word standard. The latter was a double-edged axe, a symbol of the masculine-feminine sexual force. Truly, whoever finds the synthesis commits the greatest folly when they leave the center and return to the complicated corridors of all the theories that form the labyrinth of the mind. Christ and sexual magic represent the religious synthesis. If we conduct a comparative study of religions, we will discover that at the heart of all schools, religions, and esoteric sects lies phallism. Let us recall Paris Terra, a nymph in Venus's retinue, transformed into a dove by love. Let us recall Venus Virtuosa, let us recall the processions of the god Priapus in ancient, august Rome of the Caesars, when the temple priestesses, filled with ecstasy, majestically carried an enormous phallus of sacred wood. Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis, rightly says that religions have a sexual origin. The mysteries of fire are contained within perfect matrimony. All fire cults are fundamentally sexual. The Vestal virgins were true priestesses of love, through them, celibate priests attained adeptship. It is a pity that modern Vestal virgins, nuns, do not know the key to sexual magic. It is a pity that modern priests have forgotten the secret key to sex. We feel profound sorrow to see so many yogis who are ignorant of the supreme key of yoga, sexual magic, the ultimate synthesis of every yoga system. People are filled with horror when they learn about sexual magic, but they are not filled with horror when they give themselves over to all sexual refinements and all carnal passions. Here, dear reader, you have the synthesis of all religions, schools, and sects. Our doctrine is the doctrine of synthesis. In the deepest night of the ages, powerful civilizations and grand mysteries existed. Priestesses of love were never lacking in the temples. With them, those who became masters of the White Lodge practiced sexual magic. The master must be born within us through sexual magic. In the sunny land of Chem, there in the old Egypt of the pharaohs, whoever divulged the great arcanum, sexual magic, was condemned to death, his head was cut off, his heart was torn out and his ashes were thrown to the four winds. In the land of the Aztecs, men and women aspiring to adeptship would spend long periods caressing, loving, and practicing sexual magic within the temple courtyards. Anyone who spilled the cup of Hermes during these temple practices was beheaded for having profaned the temple. All systems of intimate self-education have sexual magic as their ultimate practical synthesis. Every religion, every esoteric cult, has sexual magic, the AZF arcanum, as its synthesis. In the Eleusinian mysteries, there were nude dances and ineffable things. Sexual magic was the fundamental basis of those mysteries. Back then, no one thought of anything filthy because sex was deeply venerated. The initiates know that the third logos works through sex. We have written this book with complete clarity, we have unveiled what was hidden. Whoever now wishes to achieve complete self-realization may do so. Here is the guide, here is the complete teaching. I have already been harassed, humiliated, slandered, persecuted, and so on, for teaching the path of perfect marriage. That does not matter to me. At first, the betrayals and slanders hurt me deeply, but now I have become made of steel, and the slanders and betrayals no longer hurt me. I know all too well that humanity hates the truth and mortally abhors prophets, therefore, it is only natural that they hate me for having written this book. We pursue only one thing, one goal, one objective, Christification. It is necessary for every man to become Christ. It is necessary to embody Christ. In this book, we have lifted the veil on the Christic mysteries. We have explained what the Christic principle is. We have invited all human beings to follow the path of perfect marriage to achieve Christification. We have explained that Christ is not an individual, but an impersonal, universal cosmic principle that must be assimilated by every person through sexual magic. Naturally, all of this scandalizes fanatics, but the truth is the truth, and we must speak it even if it costs us our lives. The teachings of the Zendavesta, similar to the doctrinal principles contained in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, contain the Christ principle. Homer's Iliad and the Hebrew Bible, as well as the Germanic Eddas and the Roman Sibylline books, contain the same Christ principle. This is sufficient to demonstrate that Christ predates Jesus of Nazareth. Christ is not a single individual. Christ is a cosmic principle that we must assimilate into our own physical, psychic, somatic, and spiritual nature through sexual magic. Among the Persians, Christ is Ormuzd, Ahura Mazda, the terrible enemy of Ahriman, Satan, whom we carry within us. Among the Hindus, Krishna is the Christ, and the gospel of Krishna is very similar to that of Jesus of Nazareth. Among the Egyptians, Christ is Osiris, and anyone who embodied him was, in fact, an Osirified being. Among the Chinese, Fu Hai is the cosmic Christ, who composed the I Ching, the Book of Laws, and appointed dragon ministers. Among the Greeks, Christ is called Zeus, Jupiter, the father of the gods. Among the Aztecs, he is Quetzalcoatl, the Mexican Christ. Among the Germanic Eddas, he is Balder, the Christ who was killed by Hodur, the god of war, with a mistletoe arrow, and so on. We could cite the cosmic Christ in thousands of archaic books and ancient traditions that date back millions of years before Jesus. All this invites us to accept that Christ is a cosmic principle contained in the substantial principles of all religions. In reality, there is only one single, cosmic religion. This religion takes on different religious forms according to the times and the needs of humanity. Therefore, religious struggles are absurd because, at their core, they are all merely modifications of the universal cosmic religion. From this perspective, we affirm that this book is not against any religion, school, or system of thought. All we do in this book is give humanity a key, a sexual secret, a key with which every living being can assimilate the Christ principle, contained at the heart of all the great religions of the world. We recognize Jesus, Isis, Zeus, Jupiter, as the new Superman who fully assimilated the Christ principle and, in fact, became a God-man. We believe that we should imitate him. He was a complete man, a true man in the fullest sense of the word, but through sexual magic, he achieved absolute assimilation of the universal and cosmic Christ principle. Those few who are truly understanding should study the Gospel of John, chapter 3, verses 1 through 21, there, the devotee of perfect matrimony will find pure and legitimate sexual magic taught by Jesus. It is clear that the teaching is coded, but the discerning will understand intuitively. Modern humanity has made the mistake of separating the great Master Jesus from all his predecessors who, like him, also became Christ-like. This has harmed humanity today. We need to understand more and more that all religions are ultimately one single religion. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is the same as Isis, Juno, Demeter, Ceres, Maya, etc., the cosmic mother or Kundalini, sexual fire, from whom the cosmic Christ is always born. Mary Magdalene is the same as Salambo, Matra, Ishtar, Astarte, Aphrodite, and Venus, with whom we have to practice sexual magic to awaken the fire. Martyrs, saints, virgins, angels, and cherubim are the same as gods, demigods, titans, goddesses, sylphs, cyclopes, and messengers of the gods in pagan mythologies. All the religious principles of Christianity are pagan, and when current religious forms disappear, their principles will be assimilated by new religious forms of the future. It is necessary to understand what immaculate conceptions are. It is necessary to know that only through perfect matrimony is Christ born in the heart of man. It is urgent to awaken the fire of Kundalini, or the fire of the Holy Spirit, in order to embody Christ. He who awakens Kundalini is transformed, like Ganymede, into the eagle of the Spirit, to ascend to Olympus and serve as cupbearer to the ineffable gods. It is lamentable that Catholic priests destroyed so many documents and so much valuable treasure from antiquity. Fortunately, they were not able to destroy everything. During the Renaissance, some marvelous books were rediscovered by courageous priests. Thus, Dante Alighieri, Boccaccio, Petrarch, Erasmus, and others managed to translate, despite persecution by the clergy, such famous works as Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, veritable books of occult science and sexual magic. They also translated Virgil's Aeneid, Hesiod's Theogony, Works and Days, Ovid's Metamorphoses, and other writings by Lucretius, Horace, Tibullus, Livy, Tacitus, Apuleius, Cicero, and others. It's all pure Gnosticism. It's truly lamentable how some ignorant people abandon Gnosis to follow systems and methods that ignore sexual magic and perfect marriage. We have investigated all the great Gnostic treasures, we have delved into the depths of all archaic religions, we have found the supreme key to sexual magic at the heart of all cults. Now we deliver this treasure, this key, to suffering humanity. Many will read this book, but few will understand it. This is simply a book about sexual magic. Those who are accustomed to reading thousands of books out of pure intellectual curiosity will, in fact, miss the opportunity to study this work thoroughly. It is not enough to skim this book. Those who think otherwise are mistaken. It is necessary to study it deeply and understand it completely, not only with the intellect, but on all levels of the mind. The intellect is only a small fraction of the mind. The intellect is not the whole mind. Whoever understands this book solely with the intellect has not understood it. Only through inner meditation is it possible to understand it on all levels of the mind. It is urgent to practice sexual magic to achieve Christification. In this book, the reader will find the supreme key to intimate self-realization. We are not against any religion, school, sect, order, or lodge because we know that all religious forms are manifestations of the great infinite universal cosmic religion, latent in every atom of the cosmos. We teach only the synthesis of all religions, schools, orders, lodges, and beliefs. Our doctrine is the doctrine of synthesis. Sexual magic is practiced in esoteric Christianity, sexual magic is practiced in Zen Buddhism. Sexual magic is practiced among initiated yogis. Sexual magic is practiced among Muslim Sufis. Sexual magic was practiced among all the initiatory colleges of Troy, Egypt, Rome, Carthage, Eleusis. Sexual magic was practiced in the Mayan, Aztec, Incan, Druid, and other mysteries. The synthesis of all religions, schools, and sects is sexual magic and the cosmic Christ. We teach the doctrine of synthesis. This doctrine can never be contrary to the various religious forms. Our teachings are contained within all religions, schools, and beliefs. If the reader undertakes a serious study of all the world's religions, they will find the phallus and the womb as the synthesis of all mysteries. There is no known religion or mystery school where the cosmic Christ and the mysteries of sex are absent. The doctrine of synthesis cannot harm anyone, because it is the synthesis of everyone. We invite all devotees of all faiths, schools, and beliefs to participate in a comparative study of religions. We invite students from all the various systems of intimate self-education to study sexual esotericism from all the secret mystery schools. We invite all yogis to study sex yoga, and the white tantrism of India, without which no yogi can achieve absolute liberation. Sexual magic and Christ are the synthesis of all esoteric study, whatever its name, religious form, or educational system. The attacks we have suffered, the persecutions, the anathemas, the excommunications, etc., are due to ignorance, to a lack of study. Any religious form or esoteric system is enriched by synthesis. Synthesis cannot harm anyone. This is the doctrine of synthesis. We deeply love all religious forms. We know that they are the loving manifestation of the great universal cosmic religion. In perfect matrimony lies the supreme religious synthesis. God is love and wisdom. In Christ and in sex is the ultimate synthesis of all lodges, orders, schools, sects, systems, and methods of intimate self-realization, from both East and West, North and South. Reverential Peace. Chapter I Love. God as Father is wisdom. God as Mother is love. God as Father resides in the eye of wisdom. The eye of wisdom is located between the eyebrows. God as love resides in the heart temple. Wisdom and love are two fundamental pillars of the Great White Lodge. To love, how beautiful it is to love. Only great souls can and know how to love. Love is infinite tenderness, love is the life that pulsates in every atom as it pulsates in every sun. Love cannot be defined because it is the divine mother of the world, it is that which comes to us when we are truly in love. Love is felt deep in the heart, it is a delightful experience, it is a consuming fire, divine wine, a delirium for the one who drinks it. A simple perfumed handkerchief, a letter, a flower, stirs tremendous, intimate yearnings in the depths of the soul, exotic ecstasies, ineffable voluptuousness. No one has ever been able to define love, it must be experienced, it must be felt. Only those who have truly loved deeply know what this thing called love is. The perfect marriage is the union of two beings who truly know how to love. For there to truly be love, man and woman need to adore each other on all 7 great cosmic planes. For love to exist, there needs to be a true communion of souls in the 3 spheres of thought, feeling, and will. When two beings vibrate in harmony in their thoughts, feelings, and volitions, then the perfect marriage is realized on the 7 planes of cosmic consciousness. There are people who are married on the physical and etheric planes, but not on the astral plane. Others are married on the physical, etheric, and astral planes, but not on the mental plane. Each person thinks in their own way, the woman has one religion and the man another, they don't agree on what they think, etc., etc., etc. There are marriages where couples are compatible in the realms of thought and feeling, but completely opposed in the realm of will. These marriages constantly clash, they are not happy. A perfect marriage must take place on all 7 planes of cosmic consciousness. Some marriages don't even reach the astral plane, in those cases, there isn't even sexual attraction, these are true failures. Such marriages are based solely on the marriage vows. Some people are living a married life physically with one spouse, but mentally they are living a conjugal life with a different spouse. We rarely find a perfect marriage in life. For love to exist, there needs to be a harmony of thoughts, feelings, and wills. Where there is arithmetic calculation, there is no love. Unfortunately, in modern life, love smells of bank accounts, of celluloid merchandise. In those homes where only addition and subtraction exist, there is no love. When love leaves the heart, it rarely returns. Love is a very elusive child. Marriage entered into without love, based solely on economic or social interests, is truly a sin against the Holy Spirit. Such marriages inevitably fail. Lovers often mistake desire for love, and the worst part is that they marry believing they are in love. Once the sexual act is consummated, once carnal passion is satisfied, disillusionment sets in, leaving behind the harsh reality. Lovers should examine themselves before marriage to determine if they are truly in love. Passion is easily confused with love. Love and desire are absolute opposites. He who is truly in love is capable of giving even the last drop of blood for the beloved. Examine yourself before you marry. Do you feel capable of giving your last drop of blood for the one you adore? Would you be capable of giving your life so that the one you adore may live? Reflect and meditate. Is there a true affinity of thoughts, feelings, and will with the one you adore? Remember that if this complete affinity doesn't exist, then your marriage, instead of heaven, will be a true hell. Don't let yourself be carried away by desire. Kill not only desire itself, but even the shadow of the tempting tree of desire. Love begins with a flash of delightful sympathy, is substantiated with infinite tenderness, and is synthesized in supreme adoration. A perfect marriage is the union of two beings who absolutely adore each other. In love, there are no plans or bank accounts. If you're making plans and calculations, it's because you're not in love. Reflect before taking the big step. Are you truly in love? Beware the illusion of desire. Remember that the flame of desire consumes life, leaving only the stark reality of death. Gaze into the eyes of the one you adore, lose yourself in the bliss of their pupils, but if you want to be happy, Don't let yourself be carried away by desire. Don't confuse love with passion, man in love. Analyze yourself deeply. It's urgent to know if she belongs to you in spirit. It's necessary to know if you are completely compatible with her in the three realms of thought, feeling, and will. Adultery is the cruel result of a lack of love. A woman truly in love would prefer death to adultery. A man who commits adultery is not in love. Love is terribly divine. The blessed goddess mother of the world is what is called love. With the terrible fire of love we can transform ourselves into gods to penetrate, full of majesty, into the amphitheater of cosmic science. Chapter 2 The Son of Man. God is love, and his love creates, and creates again. The sweet words of love lead to the burning kiss of adoration. The sexual act is the true embodiment of love, in the tremendous psychophysiological reality of our nature. When a man and a woman unite sexually, something is created. In those moments of supreme adoration, he and she are truly one androgynous being with the power to create like the gods. The Elohim are male and female. The man and woman united sexually during the supreme ecstasy of love are truly a terribly divine Elohim. In those moments of sexual union we are truly in the laboratorium of holy alchemy. Great clairvoyants can see their sexual partner at such moments, enveloped in terrifyingly divine splendor. We have then penetrated the sanctum regnum of high magic. With these frightfully divine forces, we can disintegrate the devil within us and transform ourselves into great hierophants. As the sexual act continues, as the delicious caresses of adorable ecstasy increase, a delightful spiritual voluptuousness is felt. Then we are being charged with universal electricity and magnetism, terrible cosmic forces accumulate in the depths of the soul, the chakras of the astral body sparkle, the mysterious forces of the great cosmic mother circulate through all the channels of our organism. The ardent kiss, the intimate caresses, are transformed into miraculous notes that resonate movingly within the aura of the universe. We have no way of explaining those moments of supreme joy. The serpent of fire stirs, the fires of the heart are kindled, and the terrible rays of the Father flash majestically on the foreheads of those sexually united. If the man and woman know how to withdraw before the spasm, if in those moments of delicious joy they have the willpower to control their animal ego, and if they then withdraw from the act without spilling the semen, neither inside the womb, nor outside of it, nor on the sides, nor anywhere, they will have committed an act of sexual magic. That is what is called in occultism the AZF Arcana. With the AZF Arcanum, we can retain all that wondrous light, all those cosmic currents, all those divine powers. Then the Kundalini awakens, the sacred fire of the Holy Spirit within us, and we become terrifyingly divine gods. But when we spill our seed, the cosmic currents merge with the universal currents and penetrate the souls of both beings with a bloody light, the Luciferian forces of evil, a fatal magnetism. Then Cupid departs weeping, the gates of Eden close, love turns to disillusionment, disenchantment arrives, and only the dark reality of this veil of tears remains. When we know how to withdraw before the sexual spasm, the fiery serpent of our magical powers awakens. The Kabbalists speak to us of the ninth sphere. The ninth sphere of Kabbalah is sex. The descent to the ninth sphere was, in the ancient mysteries, the ultimate test for the supreme dignity of the Hierophant. Jesus, Hermes, Buddha, Dante, Zoroaster, and others had to descend to the ninth sphere to work with fire and water, the origin of worlds, beasts, men, and gods. Every authentic and legitimate white initiation begins there. The Son of Man is born in the ninth sphere. The Son of Man is born of water and fire. When the alchemist has completed his work in the mastery of fire, he receives the Venistic initiation. The marriage of the soul to the Lamb is the soul's greatest feast. That great Lord of Light enters into her. He becomes human, she becomes divine. From this divine and human union comes that which the Adorable One so aptly calls, the Son of Man. The ultimate triumph of supreme worship is the birth of the Son of Man in the manger of the world. Man and woman loving each other are truly two harps of miraculous harmonies, an ecstasy of glory, that which cannot be defined because if it is defined, it is distorted. That is love. The kiss is the profoundly mystical consecration of two souls who adore each other, and the sexual act is the key with which we become gods. Gods, O God. Know, you who truly love one another, that God is love. To love, how beautiful it is to love. Love feeds on love, only with love are the weddings of alchemy possible. Jesus the Beloved attained Venusian initiation in the Jordan. In the moments of his baptism, Christ entered the adorable Jesus through the pineal gland. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. To him who knows the Word gives power, no one pronounced it, but only he who has it incarnated. In the Apocalypse, the saint of Revelation describes the Son of Man, the son of our kisses, with the following verses. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet, the Word, saying, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last. Write in a book what you see, and send it to the 7 churches that are in Asia, to Ephesus, the magnetic center of the coccyx, to Smyrna, the magnetic center of the prostate, to Pergamum, the solar plexus located in the region of the navel, to Thyatira, the magnetic center of the heart, to Sardis, the magnetic center of the creative larynx, to Philadelphia, the eye of wisdom, the center of clairvoyance located between the 2 eyebrows, to Laodicea, the crown of the saints, magnetic center of the pineal gland. Then I turned and saw the voice that was speaking to me, and turning I saw 7 lampstands, one like the Son of Man, clothed with a garment reaching down to his feet, the white linen robe of every master. The robe of glory. The 7 lampstands that the saint of the Revelation saw are the 7 churches of the spinal column. And his head and his hair were white like wool, white as snow, and his eyes like a flame of fire. Always immaculate and pure. His feet were like fine brass, hot as a furnace, and his voice was like the sound of many waters. Human waters, semen. And he held in his right hand 7 stars, the 7 angels who govern the 7 churches of the spinal cord. And out of his mouth came a sharp 2-edged sword, the Word. And his face was like the sun shining in its strength. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as though dead, and he laid his right hand upon me, saying, Do not be afraid, I am the first and the last. And I am the living one, I was dead, and behold I am alive forevermore. Amen. I hold the keys of death and hell. When the inner Christ enters the soul, he transforms into it. He is transformed into it, and it into him, he becomes human, and it becomes divine. From this alchemical mixture of divine and human comes that which our adorable Savior so aptly called, the Son of Man. The alchemists say that we must transform the moon into the sun. The moon is the soul. The sun is Christ. The transformation of the moon into the sun is only possible with fire, and fire is only kindled by the loving union of perfect matrimony. A perfect marriage is the union of 2 beings, one who loves more, and another who loves better. The Son of Man is born of water and fire. The water is the semen. The fire is the spirit. God shines upon the perfect couple. The Son of Man has power over blazing fire, over rushing air, over the raging waves of the ocean, and over the fragrant earth. The sexual act is very terrible, with good reason the Apocalypse says, He who overcomes I will make a pillar of the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. Chapter 3 The Great Battle. In Jeremiah chapter 21, verse 8, it reads, Behold, I set before you 2 ways, the way of life and the way of death. Men and women can use sexual contact and the delights of love and kisses to become gods or demons. Since the dawn of life, there has been a great battle between the powers of light and the powers of darkness. The secret root of that battle lies in sex. There is a correct interpretation of the mysteries of sex. White magicians never spill their semen. Black magicians always spill their semen. White magicians raise the fiery serpent of our magical powers through the spinal canal. Black magicians lower the serpent into the atomic hells of man. Gods and demons are locked in a perpetual struggle. The gods uphold the doctrine of chastity. The demons detest chastity. Sex is at the root of the conflict between gods and demons. The great battle takes place in the astral light. The astral light is the repository of all past, present, and future forms of great nature. The astral light is the ars and magnesia of the ancient alchemists, the flying dragon of Medea, the INRI of the Christians, the tarot of the Bohemians. The astral light is a terribly sexual fire emanating from the sun's halo and fixed on earth by the force of gravity and the weight of the atmosphere. The sun is what attracts and repels this enchanting and delightful light. The astral light is Archimedes' lever. The old sage said, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the universe." Semen is the astral fluid of man. Astral light resides in semen. Semen is the key to all powers and the key to all empires. Astral light has two poles, one positive and one negative. The ascending serpent is positive. The descending serpent is negative. When it ascends, it is the bronze serpent that healed the Israelites in the desert. When it descends, it is the tempting serpent of Eden. When we know how to adore and kiss with infinite tenderness and supreme chastity, the serpent rises. When we ardently enjoy lust and spill the cup, the serpent plunges, intoxicated by madness, into the atomic hells of man. In the realm of light dwell those who worship one another. In the realm of darkness live the souls who become intoxicated with the chalice of lust, and who, having become intoxicated, spill the cup. These souls are consumed by the fire of their own lust. The earth is ruled by Christ and Yahweh, who are in perpetual conflict. Christ is the leader of the gods. Yahweh is the leader of the demons. Yahweh is that terribly wicked demon who tempted Christ on the mountain, saying to him, "Itababo. All these kingdoms of the world I will give you if you will bow down and worship me." And Christ said to him, "Satan, Satan, it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test, but you shall obey him." Yahweh is a terribly wicked fallen angel. Yahweh is the genius of evil. Christ is the head of the great white lodge, and Yahweh, his antithesis, is the head of the great black lodge. The powers of light and darkness live in eternal struggle, and that struggle is rooted in sex. Semen is the battlefield. In semen, angels and demons fight to the death. The core of the great conflict between angels and demons is sex. Therein lies the problem. Therein lies the root of all white and black doctrines. Christ has his program of action. Yahweh has his. The elect follow Christ. The vast majority of human beings fanatically follow Yahweh. Yet they all hide behind the cross. In the astral light, columns of angels and demons battle each other. Opposite every angel is a demon. Every human being has their double. Therein lies one of the mysteries of twin souls. The Lamas say that Devadatta was the brother and rival of Buddha. He is the king of hell. The double is identical to its counterpart in every way. Doubles are analogous, sharing the same tendencies, with the differences inherent in the analogies of opposites. For every white astrologer, there is a black astrologer. If a master teaches white sexual magic, his double will teach black sexual magic. Doubles are similar in every way, yet antithetical. The physical appearance and bodies of doubles are similar because they are twins. This is one of the great mysteries of occultism. Every white soul has a black double, an opposing soul that antagonizes and fights against it. Love and its opposite are at war with each other. Anael is the angel of love. Lilith is his dark counterpart. Lilith represents the opposite of love. In ancient times, the great theurgist Iamblichus invoked these two spirits, and from a river sprang two children, love and its opposite, Eros and Anteros, Anael and Lilith. The multitudes who witnessed Iamblichus's miracle prostrate themselves before the great theurgist. The disciple on the rocky path leading to nirvana is filled with ecstasy when he has the joy of beholding Anael, the angel of love. Anael appears before those who invoke him, those who know how to call upon him. Anael is a beautiful child of the dawn. In the presence of the angel of love, we feel ourselves returning to the lost innocence of Eden. Anael's hair seems like a cascade of gold falling upon his alabaster shoulders. The face of the angel of love has the rosy hue of dawn. Anael wears a white robe and is of indescribable beauty. Anael is the angel of music and love, the angel of beauty and tenderness, the delightful Cupid of lovers, the ecstasy of all adoration. Lilith, Anael's rival brother, is his fatal antithesis. He is a terribly malevolent child, he is the infernal angel of all great romantic disappointments, he is a monarch of man's atomic hells. Lilith cannot resist the gaze of the angel of love, yet she is the shadow of that angel. Lilith possesses the presence of a terribly malevolent child. Her disheveled and faded hair, her malevolent face, and her black and blue robe speak volumes of a world of cruelty and bitterness. Anael represents the positive ray of Venus. Lilith represents the negative ray of Venus. The traditions of the great Kabbalists say that Adam had two wives, Lilith and Nehema. Lilith is the mother of abortions, sexual immorality, homosexuality, infanticide, etc. Nehema is the mother of adultery. Nehema seduces with the charm of her beauty and her virginity. When a man is unfaithful to the wife given to him by the lords of the law, he receives a Luciferian mark between his eyebrows. When a man marries a woman who is not his, when he enters into a marriage that violates the law, the error is easy to recognize, because on the wedding day, the bride appears bald. She covers her head so completely with the veil that her hair is not visible. This is instinctive. Hair is a symbol of modesty in women, and at the weddings of Nehema, wearing hair is forbidden. That is the law. The angels of light and the angels of darkness live in eternal struggle. Sex is at the root of the great battle between the powers of light and darkness. Every planet has two polarities according to the great law. The positive ray of Mars is represented by the Elohim Jibur. The negative ray of Mars is represented by the double of this Elohim. That double is called Andramlik. The evil demon Andramlik is now reincarnated in China. The supreme leader of the positive ray of the moon is Jehovah. Chavahat is his exact antithesis, his rival brother. Jehovah directs the positive ray of the moon. Chavahat directs the negative ray of the moon. Jehovah teaches white sexual magic, Chavahat teaches black sexual magic. There are two moons, the white moon and the black moon. Both moons represent the universal feminine forces of sexuality. Creation arises from the evolutionary processes of sound. Sound is the expression of sexuality. Angels create with the sexual power of the creative larynx. The primordial, unmanifested sound, through its ceaseless evolutionary processes, becomes energetic forms of stabilized dense matter. The primordial, unmanifested sound is the subtle voice. The primordial sound contains within itself the masculine-feminine sexual forces. These forces multiply and become more complex as we descend into the difficult abysses of matter. The positive pole of sound is the wondrous force that draws us toward the unmanifested absolute where only happiness reigns. The negative pole of sound is the dark force that draws us to this valley of bitterness. The positive pole is solar, Christic, divine. The negative pole is lunar and is represented by the moon. The shadow of the white moon is Lilith. The origin of fornication is in Lilith. The origin of separate individuality is in Lilith. The origin of the self is the black moon. The black moon is Lilith. Jehovah works with the white moon. Chavahat works with the black moon. The creation of the phenomenal universe is impossible without the intervention of lunar forces. Unfortunately, the dark forces of the black moon intervene and harm creation. The sun and the moon represent the positive and negative poles of sound. The sun and the moon give rise to creation. The sun is positive, and the moon negative. The sun is the husband and the moon the wife. The devil Lilith comes between them and harms the great work. As above, so below. Man is the sun and woman the moon. Lilith is Satan who seduces them both and leads them to fornication and the abyss. Lilith is the black moon, the dark aspect of the white moon, the origin of the self and of separate individuality. Jehovah has no physical body. Chavahat has a physical body. Chavahat is now reincarnated in Germany. He poses as a war veteran and works for the Great Black Lodge. In the inner worlds, the black magician Chavahat wears a red robe and a red turban. This demon cultivates the mysteries of black sexual magic in a dark cavern. He has many European disciples. Jehovah normally lives in Eden. Eden is the ethereal world. Anyone who returns to Eden is welcomed by the Lord Jehovah. The gateway to Eden is sex. In the astral plane there are temples of light and darkness, and where the light shines brightest, the darkness becomes thickest. In Spain, in Catalonia, there is a magnificent temple in a state of pre-Columbian splendor. That is the Temple of Montserrat. Within that temple is kept the Holy Grail, that is, the silver chalice from which Jesus Christ drank wine at the Last Supper. The Holy Grail contains the clotted blood of the Redeemer of the world. Tradition tells that the Roman senator Joseph of Arimathea filled this chalice with royal blood at the foot of the Saviour's cross. The blood flowed from the wounds of the Adorable One, and the chalice was filled. A group of masters of the Great White Lodge lives in the Temple of Montserrat. These are the Knights of the Holy Grail. In times past, the Temple of Montserrat and the Holy Grail were visible to everyone. Later, the temple and its Holy Grail became invisible. The temple exists in a state of Gnosis. The temple and its Grail submerged within hyperspace. Now, we can only visit the temple with our astral body or with our physical body in a state of Gnosis. A physical body can be taken out of the three-dimensional world and placed in the fourth dimension. All of this can be accomplished through the wise use of hyperspace. Astrophysics will soon demonstrate the existence of hyperspace. The indigenous tribes of the Americas had a profound understanding of Gnosis science. The jaguar warriors in Mexico knew how to place their physical bodies within hyperspace. There are lagoons, mountains, and temples in the Americas that exist in a state of Gnosis. The Temple of Chapultepec in Mexico is in a state of Gnosis. It is within hyperspace. Master Viracocha received his initiation in this temple. Beside every temple of light, there exists a temple of darkness. Where the light shines brightest, there the darkness, by contrast, changes its appearance, becoming thicker. The Knights of the White Grail must inevitably fight against the Knights of the Black Grail. The Hall of Witchcraft located in Spain, Salamanca, is the fatal antithesis of the Temple of Montserrat. Let us examine this curious analogy of opposites. The Temple of the White Grail is a splendid monastery of the Great Light. The Temple of Salamanca is a splendid monastery of darkness. The Monastery of Montserrat has 2 floors. The Hall of Witchcraft also has 2 floors. The Temple of Montserrat is surrounded by beautiful, enchanting gardens. The Hall of Witchcraft is also surrounded by romantic gardens where every flower exhales a breath of death. Both buildings are splendid. In both buildings, truth and justice are spoken of favorably. In both temples, order and culture reign. In both temples, holiness and love are spoken of. This will cause astonishment to the reader, who will say to himself, how is it possible that in the temples of evil, holiness and love are spoken of? Beloved reader, please do not be disconcerted. Remember, brother, that the Knights of the Black Grail are wolves in sheep's clothing. The adepts of the left hand delight in ejaculating the Crystonic semen, that is why they are black magicians. Their philosophy is the philosophy of fatality. All that is good to them is bad. All that is bad to them is good. The doctrine of Yahweh is divine to them. The doctrine of Christ is diabolical to them. The lords of darkness abhor Christ. The children of the abyss abhor the Divine Mother. In their regions they violently attack anyone who invokes the Divine Mother, or her beloved Son. If the occult researcher penetrates the hall of witchcraft with his astral body, he will inevitably encounter some beautiful and elegant spiral staircases that will lead him to the most secret place in the enclosure. This is an elegant salon, furnished with all the splendid luxury of the stately mansions of the 18th century. There, the mirrors of 1001 nights gleam, the enchanted carpets adorn, and all the malevolent beauty of Nehema resides. The ruler of that mansion of doom is Don Ramon Rubifero, distinguished knight of the Black Grail, horrid demon of darkness. Woe to those disciples who visit the hall of witchcraft. Nehema's fatal beauty will seduce them with all the delicious magic of her charms. Then they will tumble into the abyss where only weeping and gnashing of teeth are heard. It would have been better for them never to have been born, or to hang a millstone around their necks and throw themselves into the depths of the sea. In the temple of Montserrat shines the glory of the silver chalice with the blood of the Redeemer of the world. In the temple of Salamanca shines the darkness of the Black Grail. In the temple of Montserrat, cosmic festivals are celebrated. In the temple of Salamanca, profane dances and disgusting witches' sabbaths are held. The Knights of the Holy Grail worship Christ and the Divine Mother. The Knights of the Black Grail worship Yahweh and the fatal shadow of great nature. That shadow is called Santa Maria. The kingdom of Santa Maria is the abyss. The great battle between the powers of light and darkness is as old as eternity. The crux of the great battle is sex. White magicians want to raise the serpent. Black magicians want to lower the serpent. White magicians follow the path of perfect marriage. Black magicians love adultery and fornication. There are masters of the Great White Lodge. There are masters of the Great Black Lodge. There are disciples of the Great White Lodge. There are disciples of the Great Black Lodge. The disciples of the Great White Lodge know how to move consciously and positively in their astral bodies. The disciples of the Great Black Lodge also know how to travel in their astral bodies. As children, we all heard many stories about witches and fairies. Our grandmothers always told us tales of witches who, at midnight, rode their broomsticks through the clouds. Although many students of occultism, theosophy, Rosicrucianism, etc., may find it incredible, these witches truly exist. They don't ride broomsticks as our grandmothers believe, but they do know how to travel through the air. These so-called witches travel with their bodies of flesh and blood through space. They know how to take advantage of hyperspace to transport themselves from one place to another in their physical bodies. Astrophysics will soon discover the existence of hyperspace. This can be demonstrated with hypergeometry. When a body enters hyperspace, it is said to have entered a state of gnosis. Every body in a state of gnosis escapes the law of gravity. It then floats in hyperspace. There is volume and hypervolume. The so-called witches move within the hypervolume of the curved space in which we live. The curvature of space does not belong exclusively to planet Earth. The curvature of space corresponds to the infinite starry space. If cyclones themselves constitute proof of the Earth's rotation, it is also quite true and perfectly logical that the rotation of all suns, constellations, and worlds is concrete proof of the curvature of space. White magicians also know how to put their physical bodies into a state of gnosis. Jesus walked on the waters of the Sea of Galilee, cleverly utilizing hyperspace. The Buddha's disciples, taking advantage of hyperspace, could pass through a rock from one side to the other. In India, there are yogis who, by utilizing hyperspace, can pass through fire without being burned. Peter, using hyperspace, escaped from prison and was saved from the death penalty. The great Yogi Patanjali says, in his aphorisms, that by practicing samayasi on the physical body, it becomes like cotton and floats in the air. A samayasi consists of 3 stages: concentration, meditation, and ecstasy. First, the yogi concentrates on their physical body. Second, they meditate on their physical body, inducing sleep. Third, filled with ecstasy, they rise from their bed with their body in a state of jhanas. Then they enter hyperspace and, escaping the law of gravity, float in the air. The devotees of Santa Maria, witches and drones, do the same thing with the formulas of black magic. White magicians, in their jhana state, penetrate a higher dimension. Black magicians, in their jhana state, enter a lower dimension. Throughout nature, there is an ever-infinite subtraction and addition of dimensions. We leave one dimension to enter another, higher or lower. That is the law. The kingdom of Santa Maria is the abyss of the failed. The kingdom of light is the realm of the gods. In the realm of light, only those who have attained supreme chastity can live. In the abyss, chastity is a crime, and fornication becomes the law. Whoever sees the elegant hall of Yahweh Semo will be dazzled by its luxury and joy. There, they will encounter thousands of dark sorceresses endowed with a terrible, malevolent beauty. The inexperienced soul that enters those realms of evil could stray down the path of error and fall forever into the abyss of perdition. The malevolent beauty of Nehema is dangerous. In the temples of light we see only love and wisdom. The dark ones can no longer enter there because they live in a lower dimension. Nehema's beauty is her downfall. Those who loved so deeply, those who swore eternal love, could have been happy. Unfortunately, captivated by Nehema's beauty, they adored another man's wife and fell into the abyss of despair. In the hall of Yahweh Semo, Nehema's beauty shines with a fatal light. The black magicians have a sacred symbol. That symbol is the copper cauldron. The white magicians have the Holy Cross as their sacred symbol. The latter is phallic. The insertion of the vertical phallus into the formal womb forms a cross. The cross has the power to create. There can be no creation without the sign of the Holy Cross. Animal species interbreed, atoms and molecules interbreed to perpetuate life. The blessed roses of spirituality bloom on the cross of perfect marriage. Perfect marriage is the union of 2 beings, one who loves more, and one who loves better. Love is the best religion available to humankind. Black magicians hate the perfect marriage. Nehema's fatal beauty and Lilith's sexual crimes are the fatal antithesis of the perfect marriage. The white magician worships the inner Christ. The black magician worships Satan. This is the self, the ego, the reincarnating ego. Truly, the self is the same threshold specter. It reincarnates incessantly to fulfill desires. The self is memory. Within the self are all the memories of our former personalities. The self is Ahriman, Lucifer, Satan. Our true self is the inner Christ. Our true self is universal in nature. Our true self is not any kind of higher or lower self. Our true self is impersonal, universal, divine. It transcends all concepts of I, myself, ego, etc. The black magician fortifies his Satan and bases his fatal power on it. Satan's form and size reflect the degree of human evil. When we enter the path of perfect marriage, Satan loses his size and ugliness. We need to dissolve Satan. This is only possible with perfect marriage. We need to ascend to the angelic state. This is only possible by practicing sexual magic with the wife priestess. Angels are perfect beings. There are 2 types of sexual magic, white and black, positive and negative. Sexual magic involving ejaculation is black magic. Sexual magic without ejaculation is white magic. The red-helmeted bonzes and dugpas ejaculate semen which they then collect from between the vagina. This semen, mixed with female sexual fluid, is reabsorbed through the urethra using a sinister procedure. The fatal result of this black tantrism is the awakening of the serpent in an utterly negative form. Then, instead of ascending through the spinal canal, it descends into the atomic hells of man. That is the horrifying tale of Satan. Through this procedure, bonzos and dugpas separate themselves from the inner Christ forever and sink into the dreadful abyss forever. No white magician ejaculates semen. The white magician walks the path of perfect matrimony. Red-helmeted monks and dugpas seek, through this fatal procedure, to unite the solar and lunar atoms in order to awaken the kundalini. The result of their ignorance is the separation from the inner God forever. The white magicians mix solar and lunar atoms within their very sexual laboratory. That is the purpose of perfect matrimony. Blessed be woman. Blessed be love. The great battle between the white and black magicians has its roots in sex. The tempting serpent of Eden and the bronze serpent that healed the Israelites in the desert are at war with each other. When the serpent rises, we become angels; when it descends, demons. During sexual magic, the three breaths of pure akasha, descending through the Brahmanic cord, are reinforced. When the magician ejaculates, he loses billions of solar atoms, which are replaced by billions of diabolical atoms that the sexual organs collect with the nervous activity that follows ejaculation. The satanic atoms attempt to ascend to the brain through the Brahmanic cord, but the three breaths of akasha precipitate them into the abyss. When they collide with the black atomic god residing in the coccyx, the serpent awakens and moves downward to form, in the astral body, the devil's tail. Angels are perfect beings. To ascend to the angelic state, one needs a perfect marriage. Demons are wicked beings. There are two types of sexual magic, white and black. Those who practice white sexual magic never ejaculate. Those who practice black sexual magic do ejaculate. The bonzes and dugpas of the Black Lodge of Tibet spill their semen. These dark beings, after spilling the semen, collect it with a special instrument from between the female vulva. Then they reabsorb it through the urethra using a black power, a variety of the Vajrali mudra, which we do not divulge so as not to propagate the fatal science of darkness. The shadow magicians believe that by mixing solar and lunar atoms, they awaken kundalini. The result is that the spinal fires, instead of rising through the spinal canal, descend into the atomic hells of man and become the tail of Satan. The white magicians mix solar and lunar atoms within the same sexual laboratory without committing the crime of spilling the seminal fluid. This is how kundalini awakens positively and rises victoriously through the spinal canal. This is the angelic path. The white magician aspires to the angelic state. The lords of the dark side wish to attain the degree of anagarikas. Souls who follow the path of perfect marriage merge with their inner God and rise to the kingdom of the Superman. Souls who hate the path of perfect marriage divorce themselves from their inner God and plunge into the abyss. The white magician raises sexual energy through the sympathetic cords of the spinal cord. These two cords coil around the spinal cord, forming the Holy Eight. These are the two witnesses of the apocalypse. Fill your chalice, brother, with the sacred wine of light. Remember that the chalice is the brain. You need the eagle's vision and fiery wings. The forces of darkness are fighting to lead you astray from the true path. Know that the three most serious dangers that beset the student are spiritist mediums, false prophets and prophetesses, and sexual temptations. This is the razor's edge path. This path is full of dangers, inside and out. Live alert and vigilant like a lookout in times of war. Do not be taken in by those who consider sex a purely animal function devoid of any spiritual significance. False prophets typically hate sex and present novel doctrines that amaze the weak, then, after captivating them, lead them to ruin. Do not be misled by the false words of the sinister. Remember that spiritualist mediums often serve as vehicles for dark entities. These entities present themselves as saints and advise against the path of perfect marriage. They commonly claim to be Jesus Christ or Buddha, etc., etc., to deceive the naive. Beware of the temptations that lie in wait for you. Be prudent and vigilant. Remember that in sex lies the great battle between the powers of light and darkness. Anyone who enters the path of perfect marriage must be extremely careful of these three grave dangers. The forces of darkness fight tirelessly to lead you astray from the path of perfect marriage.